right? What do you get? Like
I think it was months. So
months,
like
months
8 to 10 months
okay,
of
so
incarceration, and that's.
Do you know for a fact that he actually slept in jail? Do we know that?
I do not know that.
Okay, but
No.
would it be your opinion that it was under a year?
It was under a year.
So
That's
no
my
matter what happened, everything that you went through, the 2 houses that were purchased, your victimization, all of it, your opinion is that he went to jail under a year, right?
It's not a deterrent, Kevin. In this
I'm
case,
sorry. Okay, let's back up. That's
Yeah.
important. Okay,
Yeah.
I want to clarify that.
Yeah.
You're coming on here and you're saying that law enforcement and punishment is not a deterrent to.
I'm saying that the time period, the punishment around this
Okay.
wasn't. It's not enough to deter them. If I stand back a little bit, in my case, the mortgages were worth about $500,000. I think that the fraudsters probably got almost $200,000, so that the properties were really only worth about $300,000. So where does that extra money go? Well, that's the fraudsters are doing this for a reason.
Okay.
So that's a lot of money. And how many names are they doing this with to have one of the individuals in jail for a short period of time?
Do you agree? I mean, a lot of people are advocating about this particular crime, saying the only way this thing is going to get resolved is bigger sentences, okay, for crime, like for the crime, like meaning going to jail more. Do you think that's going to be a deterrent?
I think that helps. I think the only way we're really going to solve this is we start working together. In my case, this absolutely could have been prevented. The organizations needed to do more due diligence up front.
With respect to advocating for fraud, then, if you had to choose between making higher penalties for people to go in jail, because I don't know about you, I've investigated a lot of people, okay? And I know a lot of people in my life that I've investigated or come into contact with who would gladly go to jail for 1 year. Okay, full time, sleeping in jail, eating bread and water, blah, 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 for $1 million. All right? So
if it's waiting for them when they come out,
exactly,
you mean.
hidden under a mattress somewhere when they come out.
I can understand that.
So which makes more sense to you? Advocating for higher penalties, more police officers, blah, 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 or advocating in such a way that systems are put in play where the fraud can't happen at all. It's just impossible to get into your bureau without you knowing it. It's impossible to go and register something on title. I mean, these problems appear to be, the problem with the sophistication of photocopying machines. It looks like your passport, someone got a copy of your tax. It's not too hard to fake a tax return. I mean, that's just some simple photocopying kind of thing. So which makes more sense then, to advocate towards enforcement or more towards prevention?
Prevention. Well, okay, so the short answer for me is prevention. The longer answer is we need a mix of both. We need both. We need both. I mean, and I work in the investigative side. I work both civil and criminal in those two different arenas. So if we prevent everything, I might not be doing this for too much longer. I don't think we're going to be successful preventing everything. We need a mix of both.
Of both prevention and
sentencing. And deterrence.
Now, we have one of the things that I never do in this program is put down the police. I think we have one of the best police forces in the city. Certainly Toronto's the best. RCMP had some bad press, but I think you never really appreciate the police that you have unless you've been to other countries in the world. But I want to ask the question, because people always put the blame on this stuff on the police, and my position is that they're just grossly backlogged. They just can't catch up. Are you happy with the way, we know that we caught the guy. Were you happy with the police investigation, the way it went through? I'm just wanting to know, because I, for the record, I think the people out there want to know. Were you happy with the way it was handled by the police?
Yes, okay. I am happy. I've worked with the RCMP. I've actually worked as a forensic accountant in one of their units, so I've seen how it works. I have a tremendous amount of respect, and I actually work with the Toronto Police Fraud Squad, so I see how they work and a tremendous amount of respect. And the hard part, the challenge, is that most individuals who come forward with an identity theft case will not have gone through the process of connecting the dots like I did. And the dots take a lot of time and effort to connect, and these cases are coming in from all over the place. Yes. And if more cases were able to come in with the dots connected, I think the police would be able to move faster.
I've indicated, and I wrote an article, and I said that they'll never be able to keep up with the backlog. It doesn't matter where you live in North America; they're never going to be able to keep up with the backlog. Do you agree with that?
I agree.
Do you agree that they're backlogged?
Yes, I agree that they're backlogged.
Do you have any indication as to how? I've been involved in situations where I've had clients that are victims of fraud, and the police in some cities, for example, aren't even coming out to the homes right now. They're taking the occurrence reports right over the phone. So would you agree that, my position is that we're outnumbered? and we're always going to be outnumbered. And it's just with the sophistication of photocopy machines and scanners and the internet, everyone's jumping onto the bandwagon now to commit this crime. And my position is that there's no way that they're ever going to be able to attack it by enforcement, by arresting people and convicting. The only way that these problems go away is for the entire focus of law enforcement to go into a scenario where we're working with the bank. So it's impossible for me to look at your bureau. So the second you looked at that, someone looked at your bureau that one day, okay, you would have been notified. Whatever phone number was on there, you would have been notified. Please be advised that you're what credit whatever you authorize in this. Same with the land
I would have
title.
been put on guard. I would have suddenly been in a position of control and said, wait a minute, stop this, get the fraud alert on my file.
All right, so as a victim, then you agree that this is probably the best method of stopping it, putting it to an end, correct?
Well, okay, so just let me be clear on your method. My stopping it, I want to put the onus, the responsibility for the stopping it. The people who I believe have some control in the situation. I had no control because I don't know what's going on. I don't find out till after the fact. Or if I happen to be, or coincidentally enough, I'm checking my credit bureau at just the right time, I might know. The people who know, the companies, the organizations that are lending the money, they're in a position of authority. They need to.
Now, is it fair to blame the banks? Like I realize you were dealing with an independent finance company, an independent mortgage company. Is it fair to blame a banker who works at one of the major banks in Canada and go back afterwards and say, you know what, you authorized this loan, you did this loan, you're responsible for that? Is it fair to blame them? Do you think that they're responsible? They're the people who should be doing the due diligence?
Blame is a hard word, right? And blame has a lot of negativity around it. There's absolutely, in my opinion, given what I've gone through and what I've been able to see as I've been investigating and working with the two groups, there's responsibility there. Okay. There are gaps in the system that I believe, I've saw them in both of my cases, I've had the chance to see them in some others, there are gaps in the due diligence. Okay. Now, we have to understand that the banks are victims too. They're the ones that are not getting paid, but that's an institutional victim, not a personal victim. Right. And the burden of this crime is definitely on the individual. Okay. So I don't. If we use the word blame, the banks aren't the only ones to blame, but they definitely have some more work to do.
Now, where can we find out about your fraud law group? There's probably people out there that might be interested in hiring you and your firm. You have a website? I don't know the...
Grant Thornton. If you do a search for Grant Thornton in Canada, you'll find our website.
What's the website? grantthornton.ca?
grantthornton.ca.
Okay, and is there a special... What's the name of your fraud group? Do you have a name?
We are the Forensic Accounting and Investigative Services Group.
And that's based in where, Toronto?
We're in Toronto, but we're all across Canada. We've got forensic accounting in Vancouver, Toronto, Calgary, and Halifax.
Wow. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for doing the show with us, and good luck with your fight against fraud. And my guest has been Jennifer Fitter-Green from Grant Thornton's office. Now, I just very quickly just want to relate a situation that just happened to me, because you just reminded me of a situation. I was at the gas station a little while ago using my gas card, and I couldn't use it at the pumps for some reason. I put it in there, I swiped it, and then all of a sudden I couldn't use it anymore. And I pushed the thing, and I said, what's the problem? I can't use my gas card anymore. She goes to me, you have to come inside and you have to swipe it there. And I said to her, well, why is it I have to swipe it in there as opposed to here? She goes, well, because there's so much fraud out there, we have to now get a signature from you inside the store. That was fine and dandy, no problem doing that. Weeks go by. About 3 weeks later, I go into the store, and now I can't use the card again because the gas company has now implemented a password-protected system. You have to have a 7-digit passcode to use the credit card. So you can use it at the pumps now, but all of a sudden you got to punch in this 7-digit card. And this, to me, is what prevention is about. This is what credit card companies should be doing, is implementing this. Is this going to do away with the fraud of this particular gas company? And there's only a couple of gas companies out there. I just don't want to say the name. But is this going to eliminate the fraud? Positively not. But the moral of this story means everything, is by setting up programs that reduce it, that stop it from happening from the beginning. This is how we begin to battle and eliminate fraud. My name's Kevin Bousquet. You've been watching Undercover. Thank you very much for coming.